After 20 years of building enterprise systems, I have a bad habit. I tend to over-engineer everything. So I challenged myself to build and ship a complete web app in under 6 weeks during the holidays. Here's what I built, the decisions that made it possible, and some lessons I learned along the way. First, let me show you what I built, watchwith.tv. It's an application that allows you to search and find TV shows and movies that you want to watch, add them to a watch list, and then once it's on your list, you can see what streaming providers have it available to watch them at. You're able to create multiple lists, you can share your list with other people, and if you want to, the people you share your list with can even add to the list as well. So this way you can have a combined list that you're both contributing to. And if you have items on your list you've already marked as watched, but new episodes come out, then the list will show you that you have new episodes to watch and you'll be able to catch up on the new seasons. So how to get all this done in 6 weeks while also enjoying Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and even doing some traveling with my wife? Well, there were 3 important decisions that made this possible. First, start with what you know. I've been using React for over 10 years. I've been using Next.js for like 8 years. And I've been using Postgres for 5 years, plus just SQL in general for over 20 years. When you start with a familiar technology, you've got an immediate head start. Every piece of new technology that you add will take up time learning that new tech that you originally dedicated towards adding the new features instead. So it doesn't mean you can't try out new technology or add new things to your project, but you should limit it to like 1 or 2 pieces of new technology max. Otherwise, you're going to be spending way too much time learning new technology, new frameworks, new pieces of information, and then you're going way over deadline on your application. The second important decision is outsource the boring. That means factoring out unnecessary complexity during the design phase. I could have tried self-hosting my server and database on my own, or maybe gone a self-managed route through something like Hostinger. I could have come up with my own authentication mechanism instead of using a cloud provider. But the added complexity would mean more time getting the application up and running. So instead, I relied on cloud services that specialize in these kind of services to take that complexity out of my hands so I could instead focus my time on getting the features working for my application. And the third important decision is that for your necessary complexity, the complexity that you need to go into your application, try to isolate and aggregate it. You want your most complicated pieces of code to be in concentrated files separated out from everything else in your application. For my app, the most complex parts were getting TV and movie data from third-party APIs. So rather than build that into my server logic, needing to hit third-party APIs anytime a user searched for a TV show or wanted to get details about a movie, instead I pushed that complexity into nightly batch scripts that went out and pulled down updates from the third-party APIs, and then I stored all that information in my database locally. In my case, that also improved the performance of my application because now that it's only talking to a single database, no third-party APIs, so the user experience is quick and snappy. It also helped with the resilience of my application as well. Now, if the third-party API is down or if they change their API on me without notifying me, well, my application doesn't just stop working. Instead, it's just the nightly scripts that stop working, and I can go back and fix those at my leisure instead of dealing with an emergency outage. In addition to the architectural decisions that helped me get this done in a short time frame, what was also important was that I defined a minimum viable product, and I didn't deviate from that and add new features as I went along. That doesn't mean that I didn't come up with new ideas as I went along, but it does mean that I didn't let those new ideas interfere with getting the MVP out and the product shipped in the timeline I originally set. When you're trying to build and ship on a short time frame, choosing what to leave out of your application can be just as important as choosing what to put into your application. And that doesn't just apply to your features, it also applies to architectural decisions as well. Purposely choosing architecture that leaves out complexity, things like microservices or splitting the backend and front end of different servers, was also critical to finishing quickly and within the timeline I had set. If I had to create multiple services or stand up some other component like Elasticsearch, that would just soak up more of my time that should have been spent focused on building the features of my application. Now that I'm done with my MVP, it's good to reflect back on the experience and see what went well and what could be improved. First, one technical item that surprised me once I dived into the actual coding was that there were some unexpected benefits from choosing Supabase. I'd never used row-level security in Postgres before, and I found that Defining the user level authorization inside the database directly really helped to speed up development and testing. I'm actually kind of bummed I didn't know about this earlier. This would have been useful in a lot of other projects I've done in the past. Also, I've never used Postgres before, the REST API layer that Supabase uses to get access to your database without going directly through a database connection. That turned out to be really useful as well, and especially with the TypeScript library, it made my coding definitely faster than just writing raw SQL queries. And what's cool is both of these features are available in Postgres generally. Row-level security is part of Postgres, and Postgres is open source. So these don't just apply to Supabase, these are going to apply to other projects I use regardless of what tech I choose. Now, reflecting on the application and experience as a whole, my main goals for this application was to get back into the indie mindset, to build something quickly, and also to learn some new cloud technologies like Supabase and Render.com. I wanted to validate that I could build a full web app from the ground up in a short time frame. And for all of these, that was a success. I'm happy with the result and how it turned out. Since those were my goals, unfortunately, I didn't put a lot of thought into the actual monetization of the final application. My plan going in was to build the app, promote it, and see if I can get some traction with users actually using it. If I'm actually able to get to a point where I have a good amount of daily active users using the application, then at that point, I'll go back in and start to figure out, well, how can I actually get some monetization out of this? Maybe adding some ads or sponsorship, something like that. So for now, I'm happy to just have it out there ad-free and see where it goes. But for future projects, I definitely want to have a better monetization plan going in before I write any code. This way I know that I could actually make some money off of, or at least have some plan for making money off of these projects I plan on doing in the future. And one other thing I'd like to improve in future projects is I think it would be great to actually build out a authorization system so I don't have to rely on Supabase or any other auth system going forward. Although it was great for this project to be able to jump in and just start coding and not worry about that, I think that if I do start building out multiple projects, having something repeatable that I can just drop in that I own as opposed to having to pay another system for it, that'll be a lot better. And plus, I don't like the fact that I have this hard reliance on a cloud provider, even for local development, where I can't do any local testing against a local database because I have to use Supabase since their authentication is on their cloud provider. So next time around, maybe that new tech that I add into my stack for that project will be implementing authentication through something like BetterAuth, and then that way I can try a lower cost database solution like Neon. If there's only one takeaway from my experience, it's this. If you want to build and ship on a short timeline, much of your success is going to come from the decisions you make before you even start writing code. If you choose complicated architectures, if you don't have a clear vision or defined boundaries of what you want to build, or if you try to include too many technologies or concepts into your project, you're dooming yourself to failure. But if you follow my tips, I hope it's clear that you can still develop full applications in a short time frame while still enjoying life around you. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, check out my application, watchwith.tv. It's free, just enter your email and you're all set to go. If you do try it out, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.